mistakes, and we say, well, my God, that's why this mistake happened. Mm-hmm. You're unwilling to do what's necessary to stop that mistake from happening.
Yes.
So Portland won 3-2. The offense looked really, really good.
Quintero looked fantastic, yes.
Miguel Ibarra looked really good in attack.
He did.
Christian Ramirez didn't score.
But he would have had a goal on that header. I told you. I mean, he jumps maybe 2 or 3 inches higher. He's got a header.
Yeah.
Quintero puts that ball 2 or 3 inches lower. He's got a header. I mean, it was there.
You could even argue had Ramirez jumped maybe a second later.
Yes,
or like a half a second later.
It was there.
It may have been.
It was there. I mean, it was that close. I mean, it was a good shot.
And with that, the offside goal of Ibarra, that was set up by Christian Ramirez. Fantastic pad, fantastic back heel. I mean, it was a very cheeky ball. I think.
Yes,
Adrian Heath would probably like that.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to take a drink. He still hasn't scored. He's looked good.
Yes.
Ethan Finley, honestly, he's been good, but I've seen some cracks in his play, but nothing to complain about. Ibsen's been very good. Schuler, sorry, blanked on him.
I don't want to talk about Schuler.
He's still been good though. He's had some ups and downs. The first half of Portland's game was not a good game.
He gave up the ball.
He did.
Numerous times in that first half.
Yes. But he's been, overall, if you take all 6 games, the first half is bad.
Okay.
Second half was better, but not great.
I'm gonna go old school on you right now, and there's at least one person who listens to the podcast, my father-in-law, who will appreciate this, because last time we did this podcast, said we talked way too much about soccer, not enough about other stuff. I'm going to go back and say that Schuler reminded me of a young Wally Serbiak back for the Timberwolves. Now, Wally used to have this problem where he would try to drive the lane, and he'd dribble, and his dribble was way too high.
Oh, sure.
And then he'd give up the ball.
Right.
And he'd go in the lane, and you're like, don't do that anymore, Wally. You're not a dribbler. You just sit outside and shoot your threes and your long twos. But he'd do this, or he'd dribble the ball, and then he'd give the ball up. And the first half of that game last week reminded me of Wally Serbiak. Schuler reminded me of Wally Serbiak, because he'd get the ball, and then he'd do something stupid, and he'd give it up.
No, I agree with it.
I mean, it was like it was painful for me to watch. Yeah. It was like, come on, dude, come on.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, yeah, I agree. He didn't have a good game, but overall, on the whole of the season so far, he's been good.
Yeah.
But the defense,
terrible.
And I mean, the defense was fantastic against Atlanta. I mean, I know we gave up a goal in 3 minutes.
Yes.
It was a crazy bounce off the crossbar that hit Calvo as he was turning around. I mean, you can't really say a whole lot about that.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean,
and we were playing fantastic defense even before we went up a man. So the defense has been generally good.
Yeah.
Except the left side. It was particularly terrible against Portland. The first 2 goals, and this goes for Ibarra too. His offense has been fantastic. But his defense has been sketchy.
Very.
And the first 2 goals were, everyone blames Birch. I blame Ibarra. Because both goals, he was not where he should have been.
Yes.
And that opened the entire left flank. And then you have Birch, who isn't any good.
No.
Having a guy coming down the left flank, barreling at him, and what's he going to do?
He's like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
He's like,
he got turned around both times. He got basically left breaking an ankle on the first goal. And it's inevitable that you have a player that does that, cuts inside. Calvo is left all alone. And this is particular Powell's first goal. And Calvo just is like there. He gets beat, and Powell just shoots a rocket into the net. And a few people criticized Calvo for that. And I'm like, dude, you just had Ibarra on the other end of the field. Just let his guy go.
Then you had Birch.
And then you have Birch who...
So Calvo's like the last line of defense. And you blame Calvo, and it's like, there's 2 other guys who could have done something, at least to slow the guy up.
Right.
And didn't do it.
Yeah, and the second goal, and I can't remember the build-up. I watched the replay this morning, because I actually forgot that we were going to do the podcast today. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I've got like an hour. I got to figure this out. And I watched the replay this morning, and I can't remember the Portland players. Valeri was the one that scored it. But again, Ibarra had drifted way inside, and he stayed center field all the way down, and they pass it out to the wing. And here, they're wide open. Ibarra is like at the top of the box trying to book it over to challenge. And nothing's happening. They kick it in, and then Valeri gets the goal. And again, I'm blaming a little bit on Ibarra, but Birch, he's the left back. Where the hell was he?
Should we just be the point now where Birch should just foul a guy anytime he comes in a one-on-one situation?
No, because he'll probably end up getting a penalty.
I mean, just foul the guy. Who cares?
I mean,
come on.
Maybe we'd be better off 10 men than having Birch on the field.
Well,
that's me.
And this, I mean, you're going to a whole issue where if teams now, which teams can see all the video that we can see,
right? If
you know your left side of their defense is shit, then you're going to go after the left side every time down the field,
and that's it. You know, I recorded the game and I wanted to rewatch it, and I didn't get a chance to, but I remember pretty vividly almost every single possession went down the left side.
Yeah.
And why? Why not?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, that's what. Oh, I'm sorry. We're doing this podcast in my garage right now, and my sister-in-law has just showed up with her daughter. So we're probably going to hear a little bit of this right now. This is probably a good spot to pause it, get some refills, and we'll come back after this. And we are back after a little break, beer run, whatever. I will say that Dave and I enjoyed the Child of Darkness from Surly, which I've had for a long time. Dave, you enjoyed that?
Yes, it was very good.
Good beers. Dave is now having a Surly +1, which is a new collaboration with for staff, which is
also good.
The Golden Ale. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah. We are going to talk about the Atlanta game now, which, if you remember from our last podcast, I was giving Dave a lot of shit because it was going to be, what was the temperature outside?
It was supposed to be 20. This thing was 28. It was
28, yeah.
It didn't end up getting close to that.
No, it was a cold game, and I told you when you went to that game, you're going to be pissed off if you put on all these layers and went to that game, and we're all bundled up, and they lost the game.
Right.
So you have some thoughts on that game.
Well, first off, I took your advice, and I just didn't wear layers.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
I froze. Completely froze. It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the first half was freezing. The second half wasn't so bad because everything was just cold.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the wind chill ended up being almost like low single digits. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really have a lot to say about it because it's been 3 weeks or 2 weeks.
Sure.
But I wanted to point out that the defense was fantastic, which we mentioned, and the offense was really good. They just can't finish the ball.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
So the only thing that I really wanted to point out, was my God, Atlanta is a dirty, dirty team.
They are. Yes.
I mean the amount of time wasting that team committed in. I mean, even before they went down a man, was incredible. Mm-hmm. I think Brad Guzan was warned by the referee at least 6 times for time wasting as a keeper, and he wasn't carded until the 92nd minute or something like that. So it didn't mean anything.
No.
And I thought it was funny because the very next week they were down a man again. And he ended up getting carded for time wasting in like the 50th minute.
Yeah.
And I was like, where the hell was that card against Minnesota?
Well, it's too cold. It was too cold for the refs to pull the card out.
Right, yeah. Oh, maybe. But, you know, they time wasted with the keeper. Then they faked at least 5 injuries.
Yes.
And, I mean, a Minnesota player got close to them, and they fell over. Off the ball, they just
Yeah.
fell over. And maybe they're freezing to death. Who knows?
And our friend Johnny would say they learned that from the Italians because he always says the Italians do that. And I'm like, every team does that.
Well, isn't Tata a Spanish? Or is he...
I think he's Spanish.
I mean, I've heard that he's always been that way with his players.
Yeah.
He's taught them to be that sort of, time-wasting type.
Yeah.
But, that's the only thing I have to say. We talk about Atlanta a lot. Obviously, they came into the league the same time we did. So
Yeah.
And they have very different philosophy.
Yeah.
So it happens. People are probably tired of hearing it. But it's just too bad because I think that the soccer they play is really good.
Well, it's because they have those three guys.
And it's just too bad that they throw all that crap in with it.
They're angry.
Yeah, I mean that's all I had to say about Atlanta. It was a disappointing game. Mm-hmm. Not so much about the cold, just that.
Did your beer freeze?
I didn't have any.
What? You went to a game, didn't have a beer?
All I had to drink that night was coffee. That's literally all I had.
Were beer sales down that game or what?
I would bet.
See, now, I don't care about that. It could be negative 20, and I still drink a beer. I just drink it faster because, then it wouldn't freeze up, Did the coffee freeze, though?
No, but it didn't say warm long.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. John did wear snow pants.
That's good. But you told us last time he was going to wear snow pants.
And steel toes, which set off the metal detectors.
Oh, nice, yeah. What's crazy is that was, how many weeks ago? It was 3 weeks ago, right?
This is just 2.
No, it's 3. Atlanta was 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
So Atlanta was 3 weeks ago, and it was 28 degrees.
Yep.
Last week, we got a blizzard.
Yep.
We got like 12 inches of snow. This week, we're out in my garage with the garage door open. It is like 60 degrees and sunny out.
Yeah, I'm wearing shorts.
That's Minnesota for you.
I'm wearing shorts, and when the same weather hits again in October, I'll be like wearing a sweater.
Of course, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
So we're on to Seattle this week.
Yeah.
Which I want to talk about because we're talking before the podcast about their travel situation. Now, they played last week. They played in Portland.
Yep.
They then flew back to Minnesota, and now they've flown back to the West Coast to Seattle.
Yep.
And it's got to be expensive for them to do that because it's 4 flights, 5 flights.
You'd think so.
And why wouldn't the schedule makers have them just play a home game today instead of playing back on the West Coast? And then I was thinking, maybe they should just get a bus because they don't have charter flights to MLS because it's too expensive. Get a bus like they did in Major League.
Right.
Just paint it with United colors and just have them fly out there or drive out there, It'd take them 2 days, but hey, it's a bus,
That's what they do in England.
Well,
now, obviously, you're talking about
England,
hours.
Yeah, England is smaller.
Still, it's it's a coach bus. It's not like you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you left Minnesota today at 5 a.m.
Yep.
You're going to get to Seattle tomorrow at probably 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like they're grown men. They can do it.
Or take a train. They got that Empire building that goes out there. Take
That's
a train.
True.
Take
and
a
they
train.
have their sleeping compartments.
Exactly. Yeah. Take a train.
I just think I agree. When we were talking, it's absurd traveling.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
And I refuse to believe that staying out there a week would be any worse than.
Well, they probably,
back.
But I think not only does the hotel accommodations run in. I mean, you're going to spend money on that, but then you got to find places to practice.
Sure.
And I'm sure that's not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
Then you got to bus those guys to that practice spot. You got to pay them. I'm sure you got to pay them per diem every day for their food.
It's probably true.
So I mean, staying out there probably wouldn't have been the best thing. But again, MLS schedule makers sucked because they put them out there 2 weekends in a row. And United kind of why don't you figure out some other way to get out there?
Right.
I think I'm telling you now that I think about it more, doing the train thing would have been great. You could have marketed that. Hey, we're getting on a train. MLS is doing the old school thing of what baseball used to do and get on the train and go to wherever.
Yeah.
Hey, we're on the train. You could have done a bunch of videos about that. You could have done all kinds of stuff about it. But we're we're not.
It's true, and it would have been a good ride too, because it's one of the most scenic.
And think about that. You could have done a whole thing. You could have done a whole like fan thing. We could have